Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought a single sound could split a room in half, but the crack of my friend's palm against my cheek did exactly that. 1 second we were laughing, glasses raised, music humming in the background. The next, the world tilted, my skin burned, and every conversation around us collapsed into stunned silence. Someone let out an awkward laugh, like it was still part of the joke. It wasn't. My name is Emily, and until that night, I believe I knew the people closest to me. We were at a small dinner party at our house. Nothing fancy. Just a few friends, wine, food, the kind of evening that's supposed to end with warm goodbyes and inside jokes. My husband, Daniel, had spent all afternoon helping me prepare. He grilled outside, joking with the neighbors, while I set the table and lit candles. It felt safe, familiar. The friend who slapped me was Lauren. We'd known each other since college. She was a loud one, the bold one, always crossing lines and laughing first so no one could question her. Relax, it's just how she is, people used to say. I'd said it myself more than once. Looking back, I wonder how many things I swallowed just to keep the peace. Earlier that night, Lauren had already been drinking more than everyone else. She kept telling stories that stretched the truth, teasing people a little too sharply. At one point, she started making jokes about marriage, about how it kills the fun. She looked straight at me when she said it, smirking like she was testing something. I laughed it off. I always did. Daniel noticed. I could tell by the way his jaw tightened just slightly when she spoke. He didn't say anything. He rarely did in moments like that. He believed in letting things pass, in not escalating situations unless absolutely necessary. That was one of the things I loved about him. He was calm, steady, not the type to make scenes. After dinner, we moved the living room. Someone turned the music up. Lauren stood too close to me, swaying as she talked, waving her hands around. She was telling a story about a prank she'd pulled at work, laughing before she even reached the punchline. Then she looked at me and said, "You're too sensitive, Em. You always have been." Before I could respond, she lifted her hand and slapped my cheek. Not hard enough to knock me down. Hard enough to sting. Hard enough to humiliate. "Relax," she laughed immediately. "It's just a joke." My face felt hot. My ears rang. I remember the taste of wine in my mouth turning bitter. For a split second, no one moved. A few people laughed uncertainly, like they were waiting for me to laugh too, to make it okay. My hands were shaking, but I forced a smile that felt like it didn't belong to my face. Daniel stood up. The room shifted then, like everyone sensed something was about to happen. He didn't rush toward Lauren. He didn't raise his voice. He just stood, slow and deliberate, and looked at her, not angry, not shouting, just looking. The music kept playing, too loud, too cheerful for the moment hanging between us. "Did you think that was funny?" he asked. Lauren rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, Daniel. Don't be dramatic. We were joking." He didn't answer her right away. Instead, he turned to me. His eyes softened when they met mine. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. I nodded, even though my cheeks still burned and my chest felt tight. I didn't want to ruin the night. I didn't want to be the reason things got uncomfortable. That instinct, the one that tells you to shrink, to smooth things over, was loud inside me. Daniel looked back at Lauren then, and this time, something in his expression changed. It wasn't anger. It was something colder, more final. He took a breath, like he was choosing his words carefully, and said something that made the room go completely silent. Everyone watched him, waiting for a punchline that never came. Even Lauren's smile faltered, just a little. I could feel eyes on my cheek, on my marriage, on an invisible line that had just been crossed. Whatever Daniel was about to say next, I knew it would change how everyone in that room saw us forever. And I suddenly realized this night would not end quietly. Daniel's voice didn't rise, but it carried in a way that cut through the music, the laughter, the unease. "You don't touch my wife like that," he said. "Ever." Lauren scoffed, tried to laugh it off again, but the sound came out thinner this time. "Wow." You're acting like I punched her. It was a tap. Daniel shook his head slowly. No, it wasn't a tap. It was disrespect. And you don't get to decide how it lands. Someone reached for the speaker and turned the music down. The room felt smaller, tighter, like the walls had leaned in to listen. I could feel my heart pounding, a strange mix of embarrassment and relief flooding my chest. Part of me wanted to disappear. Another part wanted to stand taller than I ever had. Lauren crossed her arms. You're seriously kicking up a fuss over this? Daniel didn't answer immediately. He walked to the front door, opened it wide, and stepped aside. The cool night air rushed in. You need to leave, he said calmly. The shock on her face was almost comical. You're kidding. I'm not, he replied. You disrespected my wife in our home. That's not a joke. That's a boundary. A few people shifted uncomfortably. One friend murmured Lauren's name, like she might apologize and make it all go away. She didn't. Her face hardened instead. Emily, you're really okay with this? You're letting him do this over nothing. Every eye turned to me. For years, I've been the one who smoothed things over, who laughed things off, who made excuses. My cheek still tingled, a dull reminder of how easily people cross lines when you let them. I looked at Daniel, then back at Lauren. It wasn't nothing, I said. My voice surprised me. It didn't shake. You hurt me, and you laughed about it. For a moment, Lauren looked genuinely stunned. Then she grabbed her coat with sharp movements, muttering under her breath about people being too sensitive these days. She stomped out, heels clicking against the floor, the door closing behind her with a solid finality. No one spoke for a few seconds. Then someone cleared their throat and started saying goodbyes. The party dissolved quickly after that. Friends hugged me awkwardly, some whispering apologies for not speaking up sooner. Others avoided my eyes entirely. Within 15 minutes, the house was quiet. I sat on the couch, suddenly exhausted. Daniel knelt in front of me, gently brushing his thumb along my cheek. I'm sorry that happened, he said softly. I swallowed. I didn't even realize how used I was to letting things slide. He nodded. I know, and I know you don't like confrontation, but loving someone means protecting them, even when it's uncomfortable. That night, we talked longer than we had in weeks, about boundaries, about the small ways people test them, about how silence can feel easier than conflict until it starts costing you pieces of yourself. I realized Daniel hadn't just stood up to Lauren. He'd stood up for a version of me I was still learning how to defend. The next day, my phone buzzed constantly. Messages from friends, opinions split right down the middle. Some said Daniel had overreacted. Others thanked him for doing what they wished someone had done for them once. Lauren sent a long text that never once included the word sorry. I didn't reply. Weeks passed. Lauren faded out of my life, not with a dramatic ending, but with a quiet absence. And surprisingly, I didn't miss her. What I noticed instead was how much lighter things felt without constantly bracing myself. One evening, while we were washing dishes together, I looked at Daniel and said, You know everyone's still talking about that night. He smiled faintly. Let them. I realized then that his reaction hadn't just surprised everyone else. It had surprised me too, not because he defended me, but because it showed me what real partnership looks like. Not loud, not violent, just firm, clear, and unafraid to draw a line. Sometimes people think love is about enduring things, about being patient no matter what. But that night taught me something different. Love is also about knowing when to say no, when to open the door, when to protect the person beside you, even if it makes the room uncomfortable. And if losing a friend is the cost of keeping your dignity, it's not a loss at all.